Welcome to Dodgers Daily Down on the Farm. So glad you decided to tune in. Casey Porter here. We have a lot of prospect action to get to, and we are going to start. Sorry about the camera there for a second. I do get it stabilized. Should have probably edited that out, but when you're on site, sometimes you run out of time. So there's a shake there, right there, and I'll get into a different video here in a second. Actually, let me go ahead and move this. Get you right behind Ryder Ryan, right behind home plate. Ryder Ryan hit 99 over and over and over. Did not hit the 100-mile-an-hour mark that he hit in Albuquerque over last weekend. Ryder Ryan, as a matter of fact, in his start in Albuquerque hit, which was the start before this one. This start came on Thursday night. His start in Albuquerque came last weekend. In Albuquerque, he hit over 100 miles an hour 6 different times, okay? Now, keep in mind that the air's different in Albuquerque. There's less resistance to the air, and so you're going to get higher velo. Same reason why the ball carries further in Albuquerque is the same reason why backspin is better, and then also the miles per hour and velo is better in a place like Albuquerque. So the over 100 miles an hour is really the same equivalent to the 99 that we saw the other night whenever you put into the elements. That fastball right there, that to the top of the zone, absolutely ridiculous for Ryder Ryan. Then his brother Ryder Ryan threw yesterday. We'll get into see that fastball at the top. We'll get into that's Luken Baker there. Luken Baker was with Oklahoma City last year for a minute. Actually came over from Memphis about, I'd say about August. Good fastball. Luken flew out to right field. So there's a good look. We'll keep our look here on Ryder Ryan. 5 innings, no runs, 2 hits, 7 strikeouts, no walks. 62 pitches for Ryder Ryan, 43 strikes. The 62 pitches was 1 pitch away from a season high. His season high in pitches is 63. So he got the power early, the 99-mile-an-hour fastball with the high riders that you've seen. He was also throwing a cutter that was about 93 to 95. And then the last inning, what we got to see was the changeup. So obviously, whoever mapped out the sequencing for Ryder Ryan, they wanted to see power early. They wanted to see the high riding fastball and the cutters. Again, the cutter in the 93 to 95 range. And then later on, they wanted to see more of the changeup type pitch that tumbled. There's the good athletic ability there for Ryder Ryan. So the mapping of this game really gave Ryder Ryan the ability to show everything that he has in his arsenal, and then he also executed. So think about this as a hitter. He also threw in some curveballs late. So he was power early with the 99-mile-an-hour four-seam and the 93 to 95-mile-an-hour cutter. And then late on in the game, typically as the game went on, he incorporated his changeup and then also threw a couple of 12-6 curveballs. Super impressive, map of the sequencing that they used for Ryder Ryan. Super impressive execution. So think about this as a hitter. There's a cutter in on a lefty there. The velo band, the curveball for Ryder Ryan was 83 miles an hour. The fastball was 99. So the velo band is a hitter that you have to cover. That's Jacob Amaya right there. You remember Jacob was in the Dodgers system for quite a while. Actually, that's not Jacob there. Jacob was with Reno this week. So think of the velo band you have to cover as a hitter. You have to cover all the way from 83 miles an hour up to 99. You have to cover the four seam, that one right there, up in the zone. You have to cover the curveball that has the 12-6 tendencies. Let's get to a different video here. You have to cover the changeup that tumbles, okay? There's a good little cutter there. You have to, as a lefty, you have to deal with the cutter / slider, okay? And that cutter, they're right there. See, that slider as a lefty, you have to deal with that. And that cutter and that slider bridges all of that velo band. So you have 83 to 99, and then you have everything in between with the slider and then the cutter. So like you'll have 83 with the curveball, then you'll have about 87, 88 with that slider there. Then you'll have 93. There's that changeup. See the changeup there for Ryder Ryan. Then you'll have about 93 to 95 on the cutter, that one there. And then you actually, I think that was a changeup. Then you'll have 100 miles an hour with the fastball. So not only do you have an 83 to 99 mile an hour velo band, you have a whole bunch of bridges in between that. And so the sequencing to get to all of that velo band and all the bridges in between it from DA and Ryan Dennick or whoever put the plan together was absolutely elite. And then River Ryan went out and did his job and executed. And I'll tell you another guy, 2 back-to-back outings he threw last night and then also on Thursday. Ronan Kopp, hey, if you remember last year, he's had a couple of years as a pro to where he got off to a really slow start and then really went on a heater. So he was touching 94 the night that I saw him. But I can tell you his ball has a lot of movement, so it has a lot of explosive tendencies whenever you sit behind home plate. And that slider right there, that one, that is a plus pitch. That's not a good pitch for River Ryan. That is a plus pitch, not River Ryan, but Ronan Kopp. That's a plus pitch. It changes shapes. And to be honest with you, it changes shapes without him really even trying to manipulate the baseball a whole lot. So it was good to see Ronan Kopp in person. Good to see him really kind of start to get his season off of the mat, if you will, because again, he is on the 40-man, and he is a guy that could make his major league debut if he gets everything together and starts executing. Here is a young man that the Dodgers just acquired for some international bonus pool money about a couple of weeks ago. This is Griff McGarry from behind home plate. Slider to the arm side is pretty good. Impressed with the slider, no doubt about it, too. That one right there. It's a good pitch. Usually low and away to righties like we saw there. It kind of has a changeup effect. You know, like Ronan Kopp's slider will explode the last 10 to 15 feet. Right there, Griff McGarry. His slider tends to kind of put on the brakes and back up a little bit, and that one there, it gives you the change-up effect to where it just kind of dies on you, okay? And you makes it, see how the hitter there was out front because that slider kind of dies. So you kind of get the left turn and then also the effect of a pitch just kind of putting on the brakes, if you will, for Griff McGarry. He was about in the 94 range, Griff McGarry was, so wanted to give you a good look at him. And then also Alex Freeland hit an opposite field home run. That was very impressive as well. We won't get to that. You've seen plenty of... Actually, let's go ahead and I want to show you the home run of Freeland because it was very impressive and it kind of fits a theme that we've talked about a lot here on Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network for, many different times. If I can get to it right here, let's see if I have my home run right here, 20, yeah, right here. So watch this home run. So watch how deep he lets this ball get. If I can back this up and let's slow down the speed and let's actually just take a look. I think you're going to get a side look here of Alex Freeland. And let's give it a look here. All right here. Let's watch this. Watch how deep he lets this ball get. Okay, right there. See how deep that is? Let me back it up. One more time, see if I can get it stopped right there. Okay, see this? He hit this ball right here. That's on the back knee. That is very, very, very deep. Okay, and so to see the ball deep, that's part of Shohei Ohtani's. I think that's part of his coming around. As he's seeing the ball deeper, it gives you a better chance to pick up spin, location. So not only does it give you better swing decisions, it also gives you the better ability to visualize where to put the barrel. And as you can see, look how flat his barrel comes through the zone there on that high pitch. And then another thing is that going opposite field, there's always a narrative that you want guys to be defensive. It's like, hey, let's just duck fart one into the opposite field gap. See how impressive that home run is right off the foul pole. No, stay just as aggressive to the opposite field as you are to the pull side. Just change your timing and let the ball get a little deeper. So that's a perfect case scenario of Alex Freeland doing that right there. Very impressive home run. Alex Freeland has been absolutely fantastic since he's gotten back. Freeland 351, OPS of 1213. So Alex Freeland's doing exactly what he's supposed to do at the AAA level. Hey, the only thing you can do is take care of the touches you're given and control what you can control. And I can tell you, I was right behind. I actually had video of this right behind him. For some reason, my camera malfunctioned. So I am behind home plate taking video here. And that slider of Jerine Rosario, that one, a couple times an inning he'll throw one. He'll just let that slider rip. And it's like, holy wow, that is a plus pitch. I love the slider of Jerine Rosario. It just really explodes. Fastball is in the 95-ish range. That is a really good slider pitch right there. And he threw 2 innings, Jerine Rosario did, to see how he's tunneling his fastball and his slider off that same location. See there? And then there's a smaller cutter. So you've seen the bigger slider, the smaller cutter, and then you've seen the fastball tunneled off of that. 2 innings for Jerine Rosario. No hits, no runs, 3 strikeouts, and no walks. So hopefully Jerine Rosario can continue to have the great action, and he's kind of been that up and down guy throughout his career. So hopefully he can be a little bit more consistent and kind of bridge the gap between the good and the bad, if you will, because if he does, extremely talented. His stuff is very explosive, and I love the fact that last year he went into the pen and he's really embraced that. So let's keep an eye on Jerine Rosario. That's actually, this is it right here. Ryder Ryan, the brother of River Ryan. What a week for the Ryan family. River Ryan shoved on Thursday. We just went over that and covered that. Then Ryder Ryan last night, 4 innings, no hits, no runs, 2 strikeouts, and a walk. How about this for efficiency? 4 innings. Okay, so I'm not very smart, but there's 3 outs in the game of baseball per half an inning, right? So if you throw 4 innings, okay, if you go 4 times 3, that's 12. You know how many hitters that Ryder Ryan faced last night? 12. Again, I'm not very smart, but that tells me Ryder Ryan faced the minimum last night in 4 innings. Matter of fact, he actually let a guy on base and then had a double play right in front of that. He retired the first 9 hitters, then he walked a guy, then got a double play behind that. He actually walked Lucan Baker, who we just saw just a minute ago, hit that fly ball against River Ryan. So the sinker, 93, it was sat about 93.7. It's about where he's been all year. He's been right around 94 all year. Just got 1 whiff. So it was all about this right here. Pitching to locations that can't be damaged, right there, like you're seeing, creating weak contact, and it was all set up by throwing first pitch strike 80% of the time. 80% of the time, Ryder Ryan threw a first pitch strike, and overall 10 pitch strikes out of the 12 batters he faced, 10 first pitch strikes. So he faced 12 batters, and of the 12 batters, he threw a first pitch strike to 10 of them. That is huge. That's why he was able to create such weak contact. And I'm going to say this again. You can have all the analytics, all the stuff plus you want to throw out there. It all matters. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to downplay it. But throwing strike 1 will forever be the best pitch in baseball. No doubt about it. Ryder Ryan, it was tagged also. I say tagged because, in talking to these guys, these pitches, especially in lifetime, don't always get tagged properly. Matter of fact, they probably more times than not don't get tagged properly. Well, not more times than not, but there's quite a few times to where their pitches don't get tagged properly. So I say featured. When I say that this is how it was tagged. Hey, if it wasn't tagged properly, not my fault, but I am just reporting what is there for us. So sweeper, 4-seam change, and slider. So really, really great outing for Ryder Ryan. Great outing for River Ryan. What a week for the Ryan family. Boy, both of those young men. First of all, it's great to see that they're both healthy, and then also just kind of back-to-back like that is pretty awesome. And talk about awesome, how about the defense of Noah Miller? So again, hey, I'm not going to, like yesterday, not going to sit here and tell you, oh my gosh, look at that play. Holy cow, he's the only shortstop ever that could make that. I'm not here to say that. What I am here to say is that's a play that all professional shortstops should make. That's a play that every major leaguer would probably call routine. Same with this one here. So that's not why I'm showing this video. Again, the reason why I'm showing this video is because of the ease of which he makes it look. So he just makes it look so routine. He takes the difficult plays. Yes, I would say this is a difficult routine play for a professional infielder. Yes, it's routine, but it's a difficult, on the routine scale, it's at the top of the difficulty level for a routine play, if that makes any sense. And he made it look just both of those, to his left and to his right, look very, very easy. So I didn't want to, bring this, show these to show that he's making plays that other shortstops don't. I wanted to bring it up to your attention to show you how easy he makes and how routine he makes everything look. How about your daily Kendall George update? Last night, he hit the first pitch into center field. He stole second base on the third pitch of the game, and then Zaire Hope hit him in just a minute later. So in the first three batters last night in Wichita, you got to see Kendall George get a base hit. You got to see Kendall George steal a base. You got to see Josue DePaula get a hit. Actually, I don't think DePaula got a hit that inning. And then you got to see Zaire Hope knock him in. You got your money's worth all there in the right there in the first inning. Kendall George had 2 hits last night. He leads the Texas League in stolen bases at 26. Kendall George also scored 3 runs. His batting average is up to 346. And get your popcorn and sit down and listen to this stat. Kendall George has scored 51 runs in 40 games. Wow. You talk about doing your job as a leadoff hitter. That is incredible. So great job, Kendall George, on the offensive side. To be honest with you, I haven't seen a whole lot this year defensively that moves the needle in terms of me being able to say, hey, is he getting better defensively, this or that? So we'll just continue to evaluate that and monitor that, the defensive side of the ball. But the offensive side has been absolutely awesome. And you talk about offensive side of the ball that is absolutely awesome. Josue DePaula had 4 hits last night for AA Tulsa, 2 RBIs, 4 hits for Josue DePaula, which is good because he hasn't been like just killing the ball as of late. His batting average had dipped down into the 270s. With the 4 hits last night, he's back up to 292. OPS for Josue DePaula, 882. He's 8 for 17 this week in Wichita. How about that for Josue DePaula? And this week, not only is he 8 for 17, he has 4 doubles, a home run, 7 RBIs, 7 runs scored. Not bad for somebody who's just getting ready to turn 21 years old. So Josue DePaula, great job there. And then a very high prospect in the Dodgers system. This Tulsa lineup's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, and you just listen to Tim Grubbs, who is the play-by-play guy for the Wichita Wind Surge. I mean, even they go on and on about how good this team is. Zaire Hope, he had a couple of knocks last night for AA Tulsa, drove in a run, scored twice, and the Drillers won 14-2. 6 games in a row that Zaire Hope has a hit. Zaire Hope is 7 for his last 19. His average is up to 273. OPS is 819. I love that he's using the middle of the field, opposite field. We've seen him hit 3 opposite field home runs this year. We've seen the pull side power. We know the pull side RPMs and velo. We know he can do that. But hitting the ball up the middle, hitting the ball the other way, that's going to bridge the gap, okay? So you talk about that bridging the gap with Ryder Ryan. You have the 83-mile-an-hour curveball, the 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Well, what do you have in between that? Well, as a hitter, you have all the home runs that we know Zaire Hope can hit, the power. Then you have the strikeouts, okay? So the home runs at the top, the strikeouts at the bottom. Well, the best hitters also have all the bridge hits in the middle. So the bridges in the middle are all of those opposite field base hits. The base hits that you gather up the middle, those are the bridges between the home runs and the strikeouts at the bottom end of that. So great job, Zaire Hope. He is showing that he has the ability to bridge between his home runs and his strikeouts, and that's kind of what you want to see. 25% strikeout rate. We've talked about it in the last couple of shows. His ISO is increasing, so what you're seeing is his ISO increase to get closer to his strikeout rate. And really, it's not your strikeout rate that matters. It's the trade-off between the striking out and the power. So if you have a high strikeout rate at 25%, then you better have a high power index, a high ISO. As long as you do, and the trade-off is good, that's fine. It's like, hey, if you give up 14 runs, that's not good. But if you score 15, you still won. So winning 15-14 is the same as winning 1-0. It's all about the trade-off. So Griffin Lockwood-Pal, a catching prospect, had a great night last night for AA Tulsa. 3 for 5 for GLP or Lock, whatever you want to call him. 2 RBIs. He scored a run, 5th double, batting average for GLP 289, OPS 881. All-time RBIs leader in the history of CMU, Central Michigan University. Go Chips. All-time RBI leader there. He played for Jordan Bishel, who's now the head coach at Cincinnati, and they call that Bishel ball. Jordan Bishel, one of the best college baseball coaches in America. So GLP has at least 1 hit in 20 of the 29 games this year. On-base average for Locke, 417. Incredible worker, great teammate, super consistent. Really good night for Griffin Lockwood-Pal last night. And if you follow Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network or Dodgers Daily at all, you know a young man that I love watching play baseball, Elijah Hanline. Go yard, young man. Look at that. And Wichita, get over that fence for a 2-run bomb for Elijah Hanline. Damage. Elijah Hanline for AA Tulsa yesterday. Double, and then that home run. 5 ribeye steaks for Hanline on the day. Back-to-back nights for Elijah Hanline with 2 hits. 8 RBIs for the young man who went to Wazoo and then went to Oregon State. Young man out of Spokane, Washington, and he's hitting Elijah Hanline 295 this month. How about that? That boy, Elijah Hanline, one of my favorites. Another one of my favorites on the mound, off to a very, very slow start. Okay, he's had some really some outings that have really gone sideways on him. Continues to battle. Big ski. Atta baby Adam Serinowski. Try this on for size. 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 10 strikeouts, just 2 walks. Okay. They call him Big Ski because he's a big dude. Remember, the Dodgers traded for him last year. Love that backdoor slider. He paired that and tunneled that with a fastball to that outside corner as well. See there how he paired his slider and fastball together in the same tunnel? That's Griffin Lockwood-Pal. We just talked about pitching there. Same tunnel, outside corner, and he hit that all night long. He's going up and down the zone. So he pitched to locations where damage couldn't be done while at the same time throwing strikes. And then right here, that's the big one, his strikes that were out of the zone once he was controlling counts and got ahead in the count. His balls were competitive enough to where the hitters actually swung at them, so he got chased. So a lot of the problems is he's not throwing strikes to begin with. And then once he does, his pitches that are meant to get chased are so far out of the zone that it's a ball out of hand and nobody swings at it. So he did a couple things last night that he really needs to do to have a good outing, which are those 2 things, to obviously locate to those kind of spots that don't do damage, but then your chase pitches need to be competitive enough actually to get guys to swing at them, right? So masterful outing for Adam Serinowski, no doubt about that. Fantastic job. I will be shocked if Serinowski doesn't rip off several big-time outings like this, like he did yesterday. He's just too talented. He's too good, and hey, he's a guy that's mentally tough as well. So look for Adam Serinowski. Keep him on the radar. Let's keep tuning back in to how he progresses. Another guy that you need to have at the front of your Rolodex, Eduardo Quintero. 3 hits last night for Great Lakes. He stole 3 bases as well. 18 stolen bases on the year for Quintero, and considering how he started, to have the 4th most amount of stolen bases in the Midwest League is incredible, and that's because he has 14 stolen bases this month, and also so far in May, he's hitting .370. Also so far in May for Eduardo Quintero, his OPS is approaching 1,000, and on that base hit right there, that infield base hit, he was right at 4.1. 4.1 from home to first. Now, I've timed Kenny George at 3.55, typically in the 3.7 range. So obviously being a right-hander, it's further away. But at 4.1, that's about 70 grade speed. right-handers who can make it from home to first in 4-1 are considered elite base runners at the major league level. This is a 4-1 from home to first, okay? That's elite. That's 70 grade speed. Now, is it 80 grade Kendall George speed? No, but it is 70 grade. It is 70 grade speed. But Kendall George, now keep in mind, he doesn't hit home runs. Eduardo Quintero will have probably 20 home runs by the end of this season. So when you pair 70 grade speed with the power that Eduardo Quintero has, plus the arm for Eduardo Quintero is fantastic, and the arm for Eduardo Quintero is super accurate. So when you talk about tools, the treasure trove for Eduardo Quintero is as big as it gets. Now the question for him, for all of these young guys, is, kind of like a Jerine Elkins, how do you take all these tools, the great arm, the athletic ability, the 70 grade speed from home to first, the ability to impact the baseball and hit home runs. How do you take all these tools and then turn them into results consistently in games day after day? That's going to be the trick for Eduardo Quintero. He's been doing it definitely so far in May. And you talk about a young man that knows how to provide results. Charles Davlin, 2 hits, huge double, and a bases loaded situation yesterday for Picante Del Norte. I'm going to butcher that. Hey, let me back up. Sorry, I did butcher that, so I'm going to stop trying right here. Hey, you know who that is? That is our one Mr. Austin Brubaker. Austin was able to be there for Thursday and Friday with his buddy, so good to see him. We're going to go on live here in just a little bit. Not only did Davlin have 2 hits, he also walked twice. So check this out for Charles Davlin in the leadoff spot. Okay, he got on base 4 times from the leadoff spot, and then he also drove in 4 runs. You don't get much bigger of an impact ever from a guy in your leadoff spot than a guy that gets on base 4 times and then drives in 4 runs. Okay, his average is at 287. His OPS is 918. So great job, Charles Davlin, who had a great game last night. Jose Hernandez was a triple away shy from the cycle last night for the Great Lakes Loons, and also Jose Mesa, who said, let's show Jose Mesa because he's having a great year to this season. Jose Mesa, very, very, very sweet swing. Okay, let me actually get to his video and play it here. Right, let's get to his video from last night. Jose Mesa. Right here, couple knocks for the Loons. Average of 315, OPS almost 900 at 892. Sweet swing, okay? Hits in 3 games in a row, 4 multi-hit games. Again, 315 batting average for Jose Mesa. One of those guys that can go, watch this sweet swing. I mean, what can go wrong with that, right? One of those guys that at times can make hitting look way, way, way too easy, okay? So wanted to clue you in on Jose Mesa. And let's take a trip now down to the single A level and the Ontario Tower Buzzers, a young man that was drafted last year out of Seton Hall. A pretty sweet swing and a left-handed swing for AJ Soldra. Had a really, really, really nice night on, what would that be, Thursday night. 4 for 5, not a nice night, a great night. AJ Soldra went 4 for 5 on Thursday night. He had his 4th home run of the season. 16th round draft pick out of Seton Hall last year. Sweet left-handed stroke. As Soldier has hits in 5 of his last 6 games and is 8 for his last 19. At least he was going into last night. I did not do the stats for last night because it was not a pretty night for the Tower Buzzers. So this is all the Tower Buzzer stuff is from Thursday. So all these statistics are going to be from after the Thursday game. AJ Soldier has hits in 5 of his last 6 games. 8 for his last 19, 4 doubles, a home run, and 7 ribeyes. Another young man who entered the top prospects list this last year, but is off to a very, very, very slow start. Part of that's due to injury. That would be Landon Vitterick. Young man, again, another young man he played for Jordan Bishel as well. We talked about how Griffin Lockwood-Pal played for Jordan Bishel at Central Michigan. Landon Vitterick played for him at Cincinnati last year. Okay, so whatever Vitterick ate yesterday on Thursday for breakfast, he needs to keep eating it every day because he had that blooper, and then he had this infield base hit. So the baseball gods definitely shined on him, no doubt about that. And then a couple of pitchers. So there's Landon Vitterick, one of the top 30 prospects for the Dodgers. Continuing on the top 30 prospect train here, we've had them all. Zaire Hope, Josue DePaula, Kenny George, Charles Davlin, Ryder Ryan. We've had them all. Let's get to another top prospect in the Dodgers system. What a super fun show this show is today, because, I mean, you're talking about the who's who of Dodgers prospects on this show today. Young-Sek Jang, first win of the season Thursday. Love that right turn to his fastball. Plus. Look at that turn. I mean, that's 96, guys and gals. And then that change up there. Look at those two right turns. So you have two right turns. One's 96. See that right turn? One's 86. And they look exactly the same out of the hand. You decipher how fast it's going to be. You can't. That's why that changeup is so effective, because it looks just like the fastball. It has the same shape. It has the same everything, but it just puts the brakes on, and it's 10 miles an hour slower. So 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 runs, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk for Young-Sek Jang in his last start on Thursday. Fastball was super explosive, especially the top of the zone. Changeup, you just saw it right there. See that? Plus pitch, as it usually is. Paired that also with a curveball, 2 different shaped sliders. Changeup, 2 different shaped sliders, curveball, fastball 96. That shapes exactly like his changeup. Nothing not to like about Young-Sek Jang. That is absolutely no doubt about that. And then another young man you need to start putting on your radar, because he's really unlocked a lot since he has come in to the Dodgers system, and that is one Mr. Robbie Porco. 6'8" young man. Actually, that's still, I haven't played the video yet. Right there. There's Robbie Porco, 6'8". That is a very explosive fastball there. 96 miles an hour, and he's able to hit the bottom of the zone. You see the tail on that. See that ball come back into righties. Second save of the season for Robbie Porco. Whip is down to 109, so he's been efficient. ERA on the year for Porco, 293. Or 292. He's gone scoreless in 5 outings in a row and has 12 strikeouts in 7 innings. Touching 96. So Robbie Porco doing a great job for the Ontario Tower Buzzers at the single A level. That's going to do it for Dodgers Daily Down the Farm for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hey, make sure and keep your notifications on. Austin and I are going to go live later today. We're going to talk about the really boring game for the Dodgers last night and talk about LA here in a bit. So keep your notifications on. Come join us whenever we go live. But until then, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And as always, one last reminder, it's a great day to be a Dodger.